building a culture where customer is first as an approach across the organization, and finally, the most important, through all these, delivering outstanding business performance. So this is the outcome which we expect by adapting this framework in your organization. The picture, I think it is slightly distorted in terms of its the appearance. It is the concentric circle is not an elliptical. I think there is some small visual defects there. Sorry for that bad experience. The customer is at the center, and the first circle around the customer is the leadership and leadership activities. The leadership of the organization, what they are supposed to do to deliver a value to customer, deliver a product or service which is meaningful to the customer, and what focused strategy they are adapting to ensure that they are delivering to the customer. So it is a leadership role, leadership and customer focused strategy, which is certainly the prime drivers for the organization to demonstrate that they are truly focusing on customer. Once if you look at the next circle after the leadership and the focus strategy, all the process and results. The process which is focusing towards customer, and the result which is the outcome of those practices. Products and services is one of the practice. Supply chain management is another important aspect which we need to manage, and the results will be one is all the customer related results and including the market and business related results. So market, what is the market share, how are you growing in the market, all will be part of the measures. The outer circle is primarily the one which enables the organization to have a continuous learning and improvement. This can happen in two ways. One is managing their organization knowledge, information, making it available to the people who can take decision appropriately, thereby things can move faster. Leveraging the technology for providing experience, efficiency in the process. It could be a digital experience to the customer. For example, if you look at most of our online the merchandise, whether any of the whether Flipkarts, Amazons, the products are purchased through which they are just only virtual the experience. So how you are able to deliver the products and services, how you are able to leverage the technology, information technology, what could be for the communication, it could be for information, it could be for the efficiency. The second which you can look at is how are you continuously monitoring, measuring and analyzing your performance, improving those performance continuously. How are you nurturing creativity and ensuring that the innovation is one of the major activities, major focus in the organization. So measurement, analysis, innovation and improvement is one of the way by which the organization continuously learn. The other aspects which is across, it could be applicable to any function, any area, which is what is the process by which the organization manages its knowledge, manages information and also uses technology for the better benefit. So this is the 7 categories. All the titles are one category. The category except customer and market results are process categories. Customer and market results is under result category. The slide gives a little more information about how each category has been structured. Under leadership, we have another 2 subcategory, which is vision, mission and values of the organization and the leadership engagement practices of the organization. Under customer focused strategy, how the strategy is getting developed and how the strategy is getting implemented is part of 2 subcategories. The third, products and services, divided into 3 subcategories. How the products and services are developed, how the products and services are delivered, and how the organization, what practices are there in terms of customer engagement, relationship, experience and satisfaction. The fourth category is supply chain management, how your supply chain development is happening and how the supplier or partner, whatever the relationships you are managing. The fifth one, under knowledge management, information and information technology, there are 2. One is what practices you have to manage the organization knowledge and what practices you have to collect data, transform into information and provide at the appropriate manner to which the people can take some decision, analyze and take some decision. And how are you leveraging the information technology? On the measurement, analysis and improvement and innovation, the 6th one, there are 2. How the performance measurement, analysis and improvement is, what practices are there, how is it happening? The second subcategory is, how are you looking at the benchmarking as an opportunity for learning and improving? How are you using creativity to convert some idea into action through innovation? So this is the process for both 5 and 6 are applicable to all categories, be it process category or be it result category. It is applicable to all. The 7th one, which is talking about the customer and market results, talks about, one is the process results, which is part of the customer focused practices. Second one on what is the result with respect to your practices of customer engagement, relationship, experience and satisfaction. And finally, how the market is demonstrating these improvements. So marketplace performance, it could be the growth, it could be the market share and including some of the financial results. So this is the 7 category and 16 subcategory titles. We will just take 1 or 2 examples how it is further categorized to give you a glimpse of the structure of the framework. More you can obtain while if you are getting the framework in your either you can buy or you can ask for that in your programs. If you take the leadership, so the Immediately after the leadership, it gives the information about what really the criteria is asking for and what is the broad the guidelines and the essence. And it is further subdivided into subcategories, and in the subcategories there are multiple titles, how an organization or how a leadership is doing various important activities. For example, under vision, mission and values, the primary area where the organization need to address is how senior leaders setting the organization's vision, mission and values. And if you look at the ABC requirements, which talks about further elements which you can consider. These are all the elements which you have to address when you are preparing the report. For example, how does the organization demonstrate its customer focus through its vision, mission and values? How do senior leaders develop a customer focused culture across the value chain, including empowering people as needed? Because without empowerment at different levels, the experience may not be there, because the delay will be there, decision may take longer time and some decision may not be appropriate. So how do you ensure that the culture is built as well as the system is built? The third one is, what are the core competencies of the organization to deliver the value and experience to its customers? So understanding the organization better. So this is the three broad element under subcategory 1.1 where you can answer. So normally when you answer, it could be more elaboration of your how senior leaders are setting the organization's vision, mission, and this could be the guiding principles, guiding points which you can look at. Need not be answering to ABC in that order. You can broadly talk about the high level message. What is we are looking at is the leaders setting the organization vision and values. Similarly, if you look at as another example, the leadership engagement, further it is primarily asking for senior leaders engage with customers and employees to build a customer centric organization. So this is what the practice which is expected, and some of the requirements under that can be, how do leaders through their personal involvement create a culture in the organization and thereby ensuring that they are delivering superior experience to customers. So A, B, C, D, E can give you some guidance on the specific requirements which you can look at as a practice expected when you are moving from one level to the next level. Some may be applicable to you and some may not be applicable at this stage, depending upon the size of the organization, complexity and the area where you are working. So there could be a situation that one or two may not be applicable at this stage, but these are all generally some of the requirements which you need to look at for the leadership engagement as a practice. Under results, if you look at an example, the results talks about organization performance levels of all customer focused key areas: customer engagement, relationships, experience, satisfaction and marketplace performance. The category also examine the performance levels relative to those of competitors and other organizations with similar offerings. So broadly, it asks about the performance of all your practices which you have written in the other 5 or 6 categories, and the results are presented here. Give you a detail about what it is further. Under 7.1, one of the subcategory which is focusing on customer focused process results, including product development, delivery, people capability, innovation, knowledge management, supply chain are tracked and improved. So that's what it is, the broadly it is expected, and how you are doing. There are some yet to some questions which if you look at broadly covers what you are supposed to measure and what you are supposed to present. This is the broad structure for the entire model. We have the category, 6 process categories and 1 result category. Out of 6 process categories, 2 are primarily focusing on leadership, how the leadership is engaged and how the leadership is building a strategy for providing the offerings to customers which gives that experience. The 2 practices which is two processes which is 5 and 6 in terms of numbers, which is talking about broadly how the organization is on a continuous improvement journey through benchmarking, learning, creativity, innovation, etc. How they are protecting their knowledge, how they are protecting the information, how they are converting the information into data, and how they are making it available for decision making, as well as how are they leveraging the technology, especially IT technology, for efficiency improvement in their processes. The 7th one category, which is explains all the results of the 6 category under process, and it also asks about some comparisons, benchmarking, and it expects that you are presenting all those what you are supposed to carry out to deliver a good service or a product to customer are measured and presented here, including the market share, market growth, it will be presented here. There are 7.2 and 7.3, there are another 2 more which is already explained. One is talking about the customer experience satisfaction measures, the other one is marketplace performance. So these are all the results which need to track, and remaining which we have talked about are the process. The model will give you details about under each category what subcategories are presented, and what under each subcategory what is the broadly the message, the coverage, and it also seeks some clarifications through some questions that how, what, and where you are doing. So it's at different stages. Some will be questions which are asking for what are your practices, some will be on your performance, and some will be how the organization is demonstrating it. So it's all a combination of questions which will broadly cover the requirements to demonstrate that the organization is at the customer-centric level. This structure broadly we adapted from Baldrige, so even the question, similar questions you can see in the Baldrige Excellence Framework. It need not be because the framework, it is more of a business framework. We have taken the requirement which is more focused only on the customer. So some of the requirements which you see, it could have been re-articulated, not that it's necessary that it is the same articulation, but primarily the base is the Baldrige framework. So the final portion which we have talked about is the scoring process. There are 2 dimensions. One is the process, another one is the results. While scoring, there are some considerations. One is the organization's, the large picture, the big picture of the organization, what is the organization is all about, what is the products, what are the customer segments, where they are operating, how complex the organization is, what all their strategies, strategic challenges, the key customers, key segments, their future plans, which normally brought under the organizational profile as a document. So if you recall the discussion under the self-assessment report, the first portion is a 2 or 3 page the report which talks about introduction of the organization and gives some information about the strategy and other key areas. The second dimension which we need to consider at the stage where we are doing measurement is, or the scoring is, the maturity of its approaches, its implementation, where it is implemented, how much it is executed, and what kind of learnings are taking place in the organization. This is the entire scoring process is in complete alignment with the Baldrige framework. So the process which you are explaining, if you are already familiar with the Baldrige, the framework in whatever form, whether it is customized or as it is, you will be able to see that it is a lot of points which you already know. The scoring for the process are under different the dimensions which called as factors. The factors are, one is the approach, in a sense which can say that what is your practice or the procedure or a system. And the other one is the deployment, which is the implementation or execution of all those practices which you have already planned for. The third factor is primarily learning, how you do, how the organization is becoming a learning organization using all opportunities. And the fourth one, which is the final one on the process measurement, is integration. How your approach is integrated into various organization needs and strategies. Is it a standalone or is it adding value to your overall organization performance? How are the measures and what information you are getting? How are you improving? So all these are part of the integration. So there are approach, deployment, learning and integration when you are assessing the maturity of practices. And for the result, there are factors which are, one is level, trends, comparison and integration. Levels indicates that what are your current performance levels, what extent you are able to show a performance. Trend shows that over a period of time, how are you moving, the slope of the line, how you are able to demonstrate over a period of time a favorable trend. Depending upon the higher the better, lower the better, the slope can be either positive or negative. So wherever it is, the data, key data is there, it also seeks what is the trend over a period of time. The third dimension is the comparison. How are you with respect to your, how is your performance with respect to your some of the competitors. Some of them could be internal if you are a part of a large organizations. Some relevant comparisons. It's not necessary that okay, you should compare always with the world class. Based on your current levels, what level of performance you are able to show with respect to the competitors which you have chosen. And finally, how these results or measures are all integrated into your whole system. So is it some measures which you are measuring, but it is nowhere it is important to the organization, or the measures are key to the organization and you are able to see that the progress or not only on these dimensions in the overall organization's goals. So this is the scoring process. One dimension is process, another dimension is the result. Process is on 4 factors: approach, deployment, then learning and integration. On the results, levels, trends, comparisons and integration. So if you want more information, of course this directly you can access even the Mulreads framework. It is available in the same fashion, and you can also seek to CII Secretariat for obtaining your copies during the programs. Now on the scoring, it gives some guidelines. So on various aspects, how do you place an organization in terms of the scoring? Scoring could be 0 to 5%, 5, 10, 15. So there are criteria, guidelines explained. So based on the guidelines, based on those the criteria, what the assessment team sees in the organization in terms of what is seen in the document as well as what is experienced during the interactions, what confidence they are getting, what information they are getting. They will look at what is the appropriate score band. Accordingly, they will provide a score. So this is applicable for both. Similar guidelines are there for results, but the entire guidelines we are following as it is from the knowledge. And if you look at the scoring, the 7 categories and the 16 subcategories, there is a weightage. So for example, under leadership, the total score for leadership is 30, but all scores will be normally when you assessment team scores, they will do a scoring on a percentage scale. So they will convert that into the weighted score. For vision and mission, there is a 15 point, and leadership engagement 15 points. Customer focus strategy, total 40. Products and services, total 110. 30 for the development, 40 for the delivery and development delivery, and 40 for customer engagement, relationship, experience and satisfaction. For supply chain, 35, one is development 20, and the partner relationship is 50. On the knowledge, it is 15, 15. In the customer focus strategy, which we have already discussed, that is the score. If you look at, I'm just because to avoid any confusion, because the scoring is the one which you need to understand, the weightage you need to understand. All these score we are given a weightage. For example, leadership 15, 15, total 30. Customer 20, 20, total 40, and the scoring when the assessment team does, they will do in a percentage scale, but then get converted into the appropriate score with a weighted number. Under results, if you look at the total result is for 225, total process is for 275 out of a 500 point scale. So total score is 500, process it is 275, result it is 225. It is the same pattern which you have taken, so we are following that. And under result there are 3, and which is subdivided into one is the customer focused results, customer engagement, relationship, experience and satisfaction results, both 90 and 90 each. And the resultant, which is the marketplace, which is the growth, which is the market share, etc., are given as 45. So total it is 500 point scale. All the process categories together it is 275. The result category and subcategory, which is together, it is on 225. So this is the pattern which you have followed, and the assessment will be done based on the criteria requirement. They will do the scoring based on the guidelines given for the approach deployment, the learning and integration, and the guidelines for scoring at different percentage scale, which is the supporting document. Using all the three, the assessment team will arrive at a consensus score for each of those areas. Then finally the score which will the cumulative, the final score will be derived based on the total score which you have got it. So out of 500 point scale, 275 for process, 225 for result. So what next is, first is, of course, we do believe that to some extent some of the clarifications would have got from the award program, and I am sure that okay, such a program through a 1 hour or 1.5 hour webinar, every clarifications or doubts cannot be answered. So there will be a lot of points. Do revert to us. We will definitely will be happy to clarify those. Understand the process, understand the benefits, and understand the requirements of the framework which we have explained under the framework category. And you can also organize some training programs, awareness sessions if you feel that okay, that will help you to understand the requirements better. So do if you are thinking about that, understanding the model, adapting the framework, do that. We will be able to support you on those areas. And we also have a unique program where you can also, while you cannot be an applicant, you can also be an assessor for another organization. Thereby, you will be able to learn, one, the assessment process, second, the best practice of other organizations. So it will deepen your understanding of the requirements as well as the learning from an external assessment where you are part of an assessment team. So this is a great opportunity, it's a unique opportunity where we will be having one assessor training program which we will announce soon. There we will focus on the process, the criteria requirements, and how do you carry out a maturity assessment as part of the program, and that will help you to understand the various requirements in a better way. So before concluding, let me once again acknowledge that we are this particular material is taken from the NIST. So some of the materials, if you want for a larger reading, understanding, you can refer the Maldives. There are a lot of readings of materials available, which you can refer to. And with that, we are now coming to the concluding stage. One, we have discussed about the award assessment process. Second, we have discussed about the framework. And third, we have discussed about the scoring process. So with that, I am leaving that forum open to you for asking if you have any clarifications. You can seek the clarifications. We will try to take those questions. We have another 15 minutes time. You can do that. You can, if you have, meanwhile, we will see whether any questions are available. We will take that. We will most common questions. We will combine all those together. Then we will take those questions. So just let us pause for a minute. Let us understand those questions, if any. Then we will proceed. We have one, I'll take two questions, one from Samir, which is, the question number one is, what exactly happens in the self-assessment process? Self-assessment process, when you start building that particular report, since the report you are making against the requirements of the excellence framework, some of the standard practices what it is expected to be there in an organization, and the results performance corresponding to that, when you start building the self-assessment report, because it is against the set of criteria or category requirements, you will be able to see the gap by yourself, that in few areas you have larger things to present, in few areas you may have some difficulty in getting the right inputs and filling those areas. So the first level information for you is coming from that self-assessment, because you will be seeing that you are in few areas you are definitely having a lot of practices which is a strength, and in few areas you are not meeting some of, or at least you are not in alignment with some of those criteria requirements. Please also remember, those criteria requirement has to be seen in the industry context. Not necessary, it's not a mandatory requirement. It is applicability has to be seen with respect to the industry and sector. But if you look at the criteria requirement, which is based on a larger the work, most of the requirements, irrespective of the industry, irrespective of the organization's the operations, it will be applicable. But however, it is not a mandatory compliance requirement. It is, the question is, how are you doing? If you are doing, how well you are doing. It's not the question whether you are doing or not doing. If you are not doing, that's a gap. If you are doing, the question is how well you are doing. That will be answered, one, if you are able to understand the scoring process better, the approach, deployment, integration and learning. The other one is the guidelines of the scoring. If you are able to understand further, then this report will give you a lot of insights about what is happening and where your current relative position is. If you look at the results ask for what is your current performance level, what is your trend is indicating, how do you compare with your peers or the competition. When you have all those results, if you are better than all, then it indicates that your maturity level, you are at a higher level. Suppose in the process, if you feel that okay, trends are not favorable all cases, levels are not showing that indicators, and in comparison, in many cases, we are not having any comparison at all, and wherever we have a comparison, we are not better than, or maybe a shade lower than the chosen comparison. So in that case, it is information that we need to work on, where how do I now move from this level to the next level. So self-assessment report in that sense will help you to understand the maturity of the organization, the gap in a better way. Now the next, one more question connected to that is, do we have to align our responses to the CII requirements, or CII will align it? Practice which we suggest to follow is at least on the category and subcategory level, please go through the flow, because there is a flow available, and you will also be able to understand what requirement you are meeting better and what requirement you are not at this stage having a favorable performance. So the criteria response, the response from the organization is against each of those 16 subcategories. Against that, you need to answer question by question. So under each of the subcategory, there are multiple questions. You don't have to answer question by question. The larger message of the subcategory is in the title. You have to refer that title and respond to that title with respect to the subsequently what questions are elaborated. You take the essence and answer to that. This is from Abhimanyu Gupta. To further deep dive into the process, the 20-page report can be in a PPT. See, it's possible to put in PPT, but if you look at the PPT, there is a constraint because it is more of pointed answers and not the elaboration. But whereas if you look at the report, few areas you may have to elaborate. So it's while PPT can serve some of the purpose, but it is recommended to have the narrative, the Word or the other document-based platforms rather than the PowerPoint presentation. And one question from Dikti Singh is, it's supposed to be binded report, print copy. See, we are recommending a spiral because of ease of reading, because sometimes binding when happens, the starting of the lines sometimes gets into and reading become difficult. So we normally prescribe, there are in the brochure, the margins and other things are given, and we recommend normally a spiral. Back-to-back printing is recommended to save paper, and 3 identical copies. Now there is a question from Devi Senapati. Number of location and scope of the application and assessment. I wanted to understand the details from the questions, probably from the application document. There are organizations where they operate only in one location. There are organizations, they operate in multiple locations. One could be a corporate unit in a manufacturing setup, a corporate unit relationship. In a service sector, it could be a corporate and a regional office and branch office. So the assessment is to be decided, the scope has to be decided based on the business model. Number of location in few cases, for example, in a manufacturing scenario, in few cases the location may be excluded. Even though it is part of the process, it can be excluded because it may not be homogeneous, or you don't want to purposefully remove that because of certain reasons. In a service scenario, you may have some location which is offshore, or it could be some location outside India. Though you are operating from India, you are just only as an operating location, you can exclude that. So the question which you are asking for, the scope, is basically to understand the size of the organization, the number of the locations where they are present, not the office per se. Office will be many regional offices. That you can just indicate how many regional offices, how many branch offices. So we will understand from that information that how the organization is spread across, and that will be one of the factors for deciding whether the number of days, 1, 2 or 3, number of assessment team members, 1, 2 or 3, because we need to cover a larger regional offices, larger branch offices, larger offices in terms of service, in terms of manufacturing, number of units, then that decides. So definitely any doubt is there at the time when you are filling, please do call us, we will help you in the specific case.